So Jeremy's fragrance is actually pretty good. I'm just kidding, it's trash. Hey fragrance family, I'm David and I'm a fragrance bro. Of course, your best source for everything fragrance related. Today I have a review that's been much requested by the fragrance community, and that is on Office One by Fragrance One by Jeremy Fragrance. That's really what everyone knows it for. Office One by Jeremy Fragrance. Of course, if you like this type of review, feel free to subscribe down below and click that little bell so you get a notification every time I make an upload. Now, of course, as with every fragrance that I review, good, bad, or ugly, I always come into it with an open mind, and I always want to be as honest as possible with every review. Today is no exception. Despite any disagreements or criticisms I've had about Jeremy Fragrance, I want to come into this fragrance review as its own thing. Is it good or is it not? But with that said, it's not. It is not good, guys. It's not. Of course, this had a huge story behind it. Jeremy was trying to pump it up and hype it to death. It has a strange marketing campaign, and I really do not understand this campaign for fragrances, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. The date introduced was this year, 2019, as of this recording. Notes are bergamot, ambroxan, orris root, amber, woody notes, floral notes, jasmine, ambergris, musk, and patchouli. So right away, whenever I first sprayed this, I got mothballs. Yes, mothballs. I got just a terrible camphorous overtone with alcohol and citrus and everything else that you get. The more times that I wore it, I got less of that camphorous type of accord right away, but I still got that mothball overtone every time I wore it. I could not get past it. That, for one, is a huge strike. Okay, I'm not wearing a fragrance to smell like grandma's closet. As for the other notes, I do get bergamot. I get a very citrusy bergamot right away. I get the ambroxan. I get some of the amber. I get a lot of patchouli, and I do get kind of musk and some woody overtones there. There might be some floral overtones there too that are just kind of making the blend what it is. This is something that everyone has smelled before. There's nothing new here. If you smelled any fresh scent out in the market, if you smelled any fresh scent in the mall, you've smelled this fragrance before. It gets a lot of comparisons to maybe Sauvage or even Bleu de Chanel, but Sauvage definitely has more of a connection here, though Sauvage is better. I also get kind of a connection to maybe Orange Zest by Thierry Mugler. It has kind of that patchouli, fresh, weird quality that Orange Zest has. Orange Zest is better, and it is very strong, but I don't think that's a good thing here, and I'll get to that in a little bit too, but it is very, very strong. I asked my wife what she thought, and she did not like it at all. She actually hated it, said it was disgusting, and also said it was very strong. Now, she doesn't like a lot of strong fragrances, as I've mentioned before, so she's really kind of sensitive to that. Overall, though, this is a very run-of-the-mill, boring, pedantic, citrus, woody fragrance with musk and, you know, all the things that you're accustomed to in a mall fragrance. It just kind of shuffles the notes around and pushes it out and says, here you go. But there are other problems that I have with this fragrance beyond just it being boring. The main problem I have with this was the huge hype behind it and a lot of the details about the campaign itself. So for one, I know Jeremy was wanting to make a fragrance. He was wanting to make a very good fragrance. He wanted to make something that was going to push the boundaries, which good for him. If he wanted to do that, I say more power to him. If he wants to make a fragrance, fine. If he wants to make a great fragrance, fine. If he wants to make a niche fragrance, fine. So he decided to make an office fragrance. Out of all the themes that you can think of for a fragrance that would be attractive to an audience, you could think of adventure, you could think of sensuality, you could think of pleasure, you could think of fantasy, of all the things that you could think of. Why office? The office is one of the worst parts of our lives. It's something that we go to that is so boring. The problem is that the office really encapsulates all of the generic, boring aspects of this fragrance. It is gray, it is drab, it is tedious, it is tiring, it is generic and boring. The bottle and the box, come on, it looks just as boring and drab as a cubicle. But even aside from just the name, even aside from the bottle and the box, even aside from the theme, why would you go after this type of scent to start with? Why wouldn't you go after a romantic scent, which I would think that would be a shoe-in? You go after a romantic scent, you have a whole bunch of teenage followers on your channel, that would be something that would sell like gangbusters and would also appeal to a lot of people looking for that type of scent. They're not people that go, man, I really hope I get an office scent for Christmas. Even a casual scent would have been a lot better than this. But then you think of what the scent is. It's really loud and boisterous. It lasts a long time. It's not even good for the office. What office would want you to smell this loud? None. This is so loud that it wouldn't work in an office. This is so strange. As the scent dries down, it loses some of that kind of mothball aspect, and it loses some of the brightness from the bergamot, and it kind of goes into this weird kind of half-hearted cedar musk thing that is not too interesting. It's slightly sweet and slightly woody and slightly musky. The whole reception of this fragrance has been bizarre. There are fragrance reviewers out there that are giving it really high marks. There are some that I think they're honest, they're giving their honest opinions, and maybe some of those high marks are honest by some of the reviewers. The problem is that I feel like a lot of the reviewers out there are giving Jeremy a pass just because Jeremy is big enough to have an audience that will send negative comments their way. So it's a lot like reviewing the fragrance at gunpoint with Jeremy Fragrance's audience holding the trigger. I think a lot of reviewers are doing this. A lot of them are just kind of hedging their bets to say nothing totally negative about it, but not really praising it a lot, and kind of just not giving their honest opinions here. And sure, there will be some people who like it, that maybe they like that mothball scent. Maybe they like the citrus aspect of it. Maybe they just like kind of run-of-the-mill generic things. But the problem there too is that this is $150 even without any kind of price markup, and you can get Sauvage, which I think is much better, for 60% the cost of this. So there's a real conundrum here with this type of fragrance that is not really special, that has a really weird marketing campaign that is marketed as an office scent that no one asked for and doesn't even work as an office scent. Overall, it's a disaster. I mean, it's a real flop. And I don't have any pleasure in saying that. It is not good, guys. There will be people who disagree with me here, and that's understandable. There will be people who really just hate my review here and they call me a hater, but I'm not a hater, I'm a critic. I say what's good and what's bad. That's what I do here on this channel. There will be people who say that I'm not honest, but I am honest. Giving my full honest opinions, you can look at my body of work and you can see that here. There will be people who give me the criticism, what have you done? What have you made? Have you made a fragrance? It's a fallacious argument to say, what have you made? What have you done? In order to diminish the power of an argument that is really just being critical about something, to say if it's good or if it's bad. And that's really what this is. That's what a review is. It's being critical about something. And you could take that to an infinite regress if you wanted to, and I could in turn say, well, what have you done? You know, have you made anything? Have you made any reviews? Have you made any fragrance channels before in order to silence your criticism of me? So we could go to an infinite regress here and go back and forth. What have you done? What have you done? What have you done? What have you done? In the end, if you like this fragrance, fine. That's fine. But I give my honest opinions to help people. And this is a fragrance that I don't think is worth anyone's time. Not only is it average and humdrum, it's also bizarre and just a really weird whole campaign that is thrown together. If you disagree with this review, fine. That's okay. We can agree to disagree. There are a lot of people that were asking my opinions about what I thought about this, partly I think because of entertainment value and because they really appreciate my reviews. And I think also partly because they didn't want to spend $150 on a fragrance sight unseen. They want an opinion from someone they think is honest. With that said, what do you think of Office One? Do you like it, love it, hate it? Let me know down in the comments down below. Of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. I love you for it. I'll see you next time. I'm David the Fragrance Bros. Bye.